the key is to truly get out of the body's way. Rather than trying to manipulate the body in any way, we want to get out of the body's way so that it's able to heal as efficiently and as effectively as possible. Now, if we look around at the animal kingdom, I don't know, Alex, if you grew up with any pets. Did you have dogs or cats growing up?
Yeah, we had a dog and a cat, yeah.
Okay. Did either one of them ever get sick enough that it refused to eat?
I think the sickest that was after our dog, he got castrated, and
I know. Let's not talk about
that. He did not want to eat for a couple of days after that. Like he was not.
Yeah, right. Well, here, as you know, we have cats. We currently have 5 cats, and all but the 2 youngest ones. We have 2 that are now, I still call them kittens. They're pretty much full grown. They're about 14, 15 months old now. They've been with us since December of 2019, late December. They were dropped off in front of our gate. And we still have 2 of the 5 that originally showed up here. The other 3 cats which are all adults, we have 2 that are about 8 years old. We have 1 that is 5.5 years old. Those 3 cats have all fasted on their own without being asked to. I grew up with a dog. We saw the dog fast as well. And they instinctively, people say, well, they're too weak, they can't get to the food. You can put their food right in front of their faces. I've tried it with all of them just to make sure that wasn't the issue. They refuse to touch it. Instinctively, they understand something that most people don't understand, and that is that processing food takes way too much energy, that we don't run on food. I have a client who was dealing with pneumonia, and the doctors were saying, well, you need to eat more protein. This is someone living on fruit and salad. You need to eat more protein to heal. No, you don't need to do that. Not at all. That's the last thing that you need to do is start eating animal products, which is what they were trying to get him to do, to get more protein into the body. What we need is to get out of the body's way, because healing, cleansing, all the restorative processes are biological processes, which means only the organism can heal the organism. That's it. There's nothing else. Okay? There's nothing you can take that can heal you. Drugs, which are toxic substances, I'm still trying to understand how it is, what the idea is, how a toxic substance is going to heal you. There are people that will tell you that these drugs healed them. No, they didn't. That doesn't happen. What drugs do is they suppress symptoms. And so we feel better. Antibiotics kill the bacteria. Now we have no symptoms. We feel better. But that's what all drugs do. That's all they do. If you have hypertension, they give you drugs for hypertension. They're just treating a symptom. You feel better because you don't have the symptom, or your numbers are better because my father used to say, he was obese for the last 30, 40 years of his life. And I would say, Dad, you're going to develop all these. I'm not perfectly fine. I don't have hypertension. He didn't tell me he was taking 5 medications every day, literally 5 different medications. He kept that a secret from me. He had multiple heart attacks and died of a stroke. The drugs they put him on statistically don't extend a person's life by a single day. They don't reduce death rate. Now, they'll tell you differently, by the way. When they do studies on these hypertensive drugs, they say that people live longer when they take them, extends their life. But it's interesting. Who do you think takes these drugs most often?
Pretty sick people, I would imagine.
And what age group would you guess they are? People who take hypertensive drugs.
60s and beyond?
Yeah, they tend to be people who are 60 or older on average, right? The largest group of them are probably people between 60 and deaf, 78, 79. When they do these studies, they don't accept people into the study if they're over 50. They're looking at younger people. There's a relatively small percentage of people under 50 who even have hypertension. Those are the only people they look at in the study, and they say, well, these people, survive 25 years on these medications. Something that most people with hypertension don't do. That's because they're looking at young people. They're not looking at the average person taking the drugs. But the real statistics say that people don't live longer. My father was no exception. Didn't make him any healthier. He died of a stroke after having multiple heart attacks. having to go to the hospital 5 or 6 times in the last 20 plus years of his life. These drugs didn't help him. In fact, they probably killed him ultimately. He wound up, he fell down, hit his head, bled to death in his brain. And when I got home for his funeral, I said to my little brother, whose buttons I like to push, because that's what we do as siblings, I said, I remember he's the doctor, I said, another one of our family members killed by medicine. And he said, what do you mean? He died of a stroke. I said, yes, you're right, Justin, he did. Would he have bled to death if he wasn't taking blood thinners? And my little brother said, no, probably not. Okay, this is what happens. That's not counted as iatrogenic disease. Iatrogenic disease is mistakes of doctors in medicine, and officially is the number 3 leading cause of death in the world after cancer and heart disease. But unofficially is probably the number 1 cause of death in the world. I mean, literally every member of my family died because of some interaction with the drugs they were taking or the damage that those drugs did to their liver or their kidneys, something like that. I mean, this is what's happening more often than not. And of course, it's happening a lot more often to